In today's video, I'm going to share with you our system of looking at systemic health, what systemic health really is, and how and why we think it's important in terms of helping create better cricketers. Now, if you're new to the show, hi, I'm James Breese, founder of Cricket Matters, and this is Blackboard Friday, our weekly show where we share our systems and frameworks to help you become a better cricketer. So, if you've seen our last episode, you understand that technique is at the center of our system. It is the output based around the other 5 pillars that come into it. So we've got technique at the center, we have the 5 other core pillars all leading into what technique really is. But right at the top sits systemic health. What is systemic health? Well, in our philosophy, healthier cricketers equals better cricketers. And if we don't have health or good health, we have nothing, and it makes everything else irrelevant in here. Now, health is a very broad topic. So over the last 20 plus years, really, of working with athletes and everyday athletes, we've kind of narrowed it down to the basics before we have to refer out to a medical professional to diagnose and see what's really going on. So we've worked out as the 7 core pillars in terms of systemic health and how it leads to technical output. So let's write this down onto the board. So if we mark out as systemic health as being the main topic up the top here, systemic health, and then we have the 7 core pillars, and we kind of look at them in this order. Number 1, pain. Is pain present? Do you have pain day to day? Because if there's pain, we need to change our approach and how we start working with you. We're not going through a performance assessment route, we're going through a clinical route because we need to uncover what that cause of pain is, because pain affects everything. It affects your daily life, it affects the way you think, it affects the way you perform, and absolutely affects your technique, which is important when it comes to cricket. So we look at pain and we screen for basic things. A very good example right here, right now, is take your right hand, put it on your opposite shoulder, left shoulder, raise that elbow up as high as you can. Is there any pain? Now, there's no pain for me, even though I've got shoulder issues. But for a lot of people, it uncovers that root cause of pain in the shoulder, which changes how we assess. So we need to go through some basic screens to see if pain is present. And the shoulder one being a very good example, particularly with cricketers who always have shoulder pain. So that's our first thing in terms of systemic health. Is pain present? Number 2, this is an interesting one. Do we have the basics of life? We call it WWS. Walk, water, and sleep. Fitness, training, nutrition, politics, religion, we can all argue till the cows come home. But over the years, we've distilled to 3 simple things. I think we can all agree we need to walk a little bit more on day-to-day life. We all need to drink water. 99.9% of us agree with that. There are a few people who disagree with that these days. And we all agree we need to sleep. We need to assess and see what's going on here, the very basics, before we do any training plan, before we do any technical skills coaching program. Do we have the basics in place, right? And we call this the 777 rule. 7, 7, 7. Are you walking a minimum of 7,000 steps a day? Are you drinking a minimum of 7 glasses of water a day, which is about 2 liters? And are we sleeping a minimum of 7 hours a night? Because if we don't have that, everything else is irrelevant. Why do we want to walk more? To move blood, to help recovery, to move your lymphatics, to help remove waste products from the body. Why are we drinking water? Well, it's the foundation of human life. We need to drink to function, okay? Now, technically, most adult males need about 3.5 liters a day. We're lucky to get 7 glasses. And it makes a difference whether it's small or big glasses right now. We're looking at ideas, can we do the basics? And it doesn't mean coffee, it means just plain old, good old water. And if we don't have sleep, the number of research papers that show how important sleep is to cognitive behavior, overall health, weight loss, training, performance, it's just there. So this is the foundation. If we've got a problem here, and it may seem so simple, is everything else is irrelevant until we fix the basics here. So walk, water, sleep, 777 rule. Do you have 7,000 steps a day in life consistently? Are you drinking 7 large glasses of water a day? And are you sleeping 7 hours a night? Very, very simple, but often overlooked. Next thing we look at, resting heart rate, RHR. What is your resting heart rate? You know, most healthy athletes tend to be below 50 beats per minute. We uncover a whole wide range of things from 50 to 55 all the way up to 90 plus in some occasions. Now, if you haven't got good resting heart rate, there seems to be some underlying medical condition that we may need to be aware of, and also gives us a little snapshot of your cardiovascular capacity. Likewise, we take resting heart rate, we look at number 4, we're looking at blood pressure. We work with a lot of older cricketers, right? And blood pressure is really important. Cardiovascular disease, a whole heap of metabolic conditions are rife in today's society. So we've got to make sure our older cricketers, just as much as our younger cricketers, have healthy, within range blood pressure. And you won't believe how many people we screen, and this goes off the charts because they've never had their blood pressure taken. And if it is off the charts, they need to go and see medical advice. They don't need a cricket coach or an S&C or a physician or a physical therapist. They need to go and see a medical doctor. That's the next thing. Now, this gets a bit more controversial. If we look at number 5, we are looking at your weight, body fat, and BMI. This is really important because if you want to perform at the highest levels, we know success leaves clues. You may think BMI is irrelevant. Well, we need to understand it because it gives us an idea of healthy ranges. And there's a reason why a lot of people have it. But I know we have performance markers. If you want to be a professional athlete, we know success leaves clues in terms of what the most people weigh is in relation to their height and their sport. If you want to know a little mini formula, take your height in centimeters, minus 105, and that tends to be your performance weight in kilograms. Likewise, if your body fat percentage is sky high, it's going to affect everything in terms of your health, but also in terms of performance. We can't ignore that fact, okay? And BMI is just more of a snapshot to see where you sit in the ranges of what we're trying to do. Weight, body fat, and BMI, really, really important. And then it leads us into number 6, your waist to height ratio. Take your height, okay? We'll take your waist, measure your waist, whether it's in centimeters or inches, and divide it by your height. We're looking for a score of less than 0.5. That's baseline. If we have a waist to height ratio of over 0.5, we know we have a weight loss issue, but also we have a power to weight ratio issue, which is why we want to know your weight and your body fat percentage, because cricket is all about power to weight ratio. It's really important in sport. But also, if we know your waist to height ratio is over 0.5, there's so many clinical studies that show you are more prone to metabolic disease, like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, etc., etc. So we've got to think about these ranges. But also, if I know your waist to height ratio is over 0.5, maybe, just maybe, I'm not going to get you running because there's a lot of force going through your joints. And that changes how we do your cardiovascular capacity, but also puts you in a category of, well, maybe fat loss is the #1 priority to help you perform better with the skills in terms of your technical output. And then finally, we have breathing. We call it the BOLT test or the FRC test, the BOLT breathing test, where we're looking at how healthy and your ability to tolerate carbon dioxide. And also, which tends to be happens most of the time as well, is how functioning your diaphragm is. Can you diaphragmatically breathe? Can you tolerate CO2? Because if you can't, you're going to gas out quicker than anything else. But also, it means you're going to be an overbreather, which puts more tension further up the chain. So imagine overbreathing being, we don't want to bat and bowl with our shoulders up by our neck. So breathing is really important. You may look at me really weird now going, why am I talking about breathing? I breathe every day. If we're not breathing efficiently, it affects our health. And if it affects our health, it's going to affect our performance to recover quicker. But more importantly, it could be the limiting factor of what's holding you back at the top level in cardiovascular capacity. And likewise, if we can't diaphragmatically breathe, if your diaphragm is locked down, it affects your ability to rotate, which means you can't hit bombs out the park as easily. But we need that hip-shoulder separation. So in terms of systemic health, there's lots of things we need to look at if we're a medical professional, but these 7 things in this kind of order is key to what we're trying to do and understand what the cricketer is in front of us and whether we need to prioritize health first or physical capacity or clinical biomechanics, or do these all affect your technique in the first place? So I hope that makes sense, gives a little overview into our system of systemic health and how we assess it and what we're looking at. And remember, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode of Blackboard Friday.